बिहारी जय राधा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यामुना तीरवनचारि यशोदनंदन यामुना तीरवनचारि हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम 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 जय गांधर्विका गिरिधारी गांधर्विका गिरिधारी गौरा हरि गांधर्विका गिरिधारी गौरा जय निताय गौर सुंदर जय निताय गौर सुंदर निताय गौर सुंदर जय निताय गौर सुंदर निताय गौर सुंदर निताय गौर सुंदर जय जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद युग धर्म हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं। हरिः ओम तत्सत्। Hare Krishna. So, on the occasion of Nityananda Triyodashi being on the next Monday, that is 14th of February, in the month of Magh, on the 13th day, that is called as Nityananda Triyodashi. So we are taking this opportunity to prepare our consciousness by discussing more and more about Lord Nityananda, and that's what we are going to do in all the sessions in this week. So I've been asked to speak upon the early pastimes of Lord Nityananda, or the childhood pastimes of Lord Nityananda. And there is very less documentation about it. The Chaitanya Charitamrita doesn't speak about it. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami, all the 6 Goswamis don't write about it. So some details here and there are mentioned. So I've just tried to collect as much as possible. And for the purification of my own filthy heart, I would like to present it for the pleasure of the devotees. So, the Bhagavad Gita says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjan naiti mameti. So Arjuna, Krishna has told in the Bhagavad Gita that anybody who understands the transcendental nature of the appearance and the activities of Lord Krishna, and one who understands it factually, not sentimentally or emotionally, but in a very scientific way under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, tatvatah, such a person, when he quits his body, never takes birth again in this material world. So we are trying to do the same here. We are trying to meditate on the Janma and Karma of Lord Nityananda. Srila Prabhupada would say, what is the difference between Krishna and Balram? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Balram is the servitor Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's the only difference. The complexion is different. Krishna is of the complexion of the fresh monsoon cloud, and Nityananda Prabhu is Balram is the complexion of the fresh spring cloud, that is whitish in complexion. Balram is the primary expansion of Krishna, and from him expands all the other Chaturvyuhas, the primary Chaturvyuha, the secondary Chaturvyuha, and from him come later on the Sankarshan. From the Sankarshan of the second Chaturvyuha comes Karanadakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Kshirodakshay Vishnu, and in this way so many spiritual and material planets and universes are being maintained by Balram. Although Balram is so powerful, but his mood is that of a servant, and he inspires all of us that the highest ecstatic bliss eternally lies in the service of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. So Balram could choose to do anything and everything in this whole manifestation, but he chooses to only serve Lord Krishna, and he chooses this job description, eternity, for eternity. Just to show everybody that highest bliss, Balram is the giver of bliss, Ananda, to everybody. And he is showing by his personal behavior that he is called Premananda Sukhi, or he is full of ecstatic bliss. Why? Because he is eternally engaged in the service of Lord Krishna. So, Vrajendra Nandana Jai Shachi Sutta Hoilo Sai Balaram Hoilo Nitai. The son of Lord Krishna has become the son of Shachi and the son of Jagannath Mishra in the Gaur Bhumi or in the Navadvip, and Balram Hoilo Nitai, and the same Balram, Lord Balram, has appeared as Nityananda in this Kali Yuga. Lord Chaitanya is the most munificent incarnation of Lord Krishna. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha. But Lord Chaitanya, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the crest jewel of the Brahmana class, a high class preacher, would preach to top class people like Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, Prakashanand Saraswati, and these kind of people. But what would have happened to all these mlechas and yavanas and papi tapi jata chilo hari nama udharilo? So Lord Nityananda did that job of Lord Chaitanya by going and mixing with all these yavanas and mlechas and entering bars and pubs and trying to deliver everybody. So Lord Chaitanya is the most merciful incarnation of the Lord, but the Acharyas say that the embodiment of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya is Lord Nityananda. And being a sannyasi, where in those places where Lord Chaitanya couldn't go, Lord Nityananda would go. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami would say that if Lord Chaitanya wouldn't give his mercy to someone, then Lord Nityananda would do something to ensure that Lord Chaitanya's mercy would be received by that person. So that is the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And his only meditation is how to give pleasure to Lord Chaitanya. Just like when the Supreme Lord descends, along with the Supreme Lord descend his paraphernalia and personal associates and everybody, and they carry the same mood as that of the Supreme Lord. So in the previous descent, when Lord Krishna was there, Balram was almost always in a very angry mood. Anybody who would offend Lord Krishna or a devotee of Lord Krishna, they would meet death. We remember the past time where, I think in the marriage of Samba or Aniruddha. In the marriage of Aniruddha, Rukmi is playing dice with him and he's cheating, and the king of Kalinga is laughing and the other kings are supporting. So Lord Balram became so angry that he just picked a club and he just, with one smash, he killed Rukmi, and he caught king of Kalinga, broke all his teeth for laughing at him, and then cut the hands and legs of everybody who was supporting him. That's Balram. Now same Lord Balram, when he comes as Lord Nityananda, he goes door to door, falls down at the lotus feet of everybody and begs to them, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna, what is that? Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. This is what he said. Why? Because this is the mood of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya's mood is to give mercy to everybody, whether they are qualified or unqualified. And Lord Nityananda meditates on that mood and reaches the summit of rendering service to Lord Chaitanya by giving his mercy, Lord Chaitanya's mercy to everybody. So that is Lord Nityananda. Lord Chaitanya would often say that I love him more than my own self. So Lord Nityananda appeared in the holy land of Ekachakra in the country of Radhadesh. So the places where the Ganges doesn't flow is called as Radha. So Lord Nityananda appeared there. Ekachakra has a connection with Mahabharata also. The Pandavas, after escaping the Lakshagraha or the wax house, lac house, not wax house, sorry, house made of lac, they had taken shelter in Ekachakra. There is a conversation between Bhishma and Vidura in Mahabharata, where Bhishma has come to know that they are alive and he is asking Vidura, and he's pressurizing Vidura, tell me where the Pandavas are. So ultimately Vidura reveals that they are in Ekachakra. But how the name Ekachakra came? This is also related to Kurukshetra battle, when Lord Krishna, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati, just to keep his vow that his devotee will never be vanquished and break his own vow of not lifting any weapon, ran towards Bhishma with the wheel of a chariot in his hand. And then Bhishma, as soon as he saw that, he kept all his weapons aside and he started offering prayers, welcoming the death in the form of Lord Krishna. But then Lord Krishna, when he saw that the purpose is accomplished, Bhishma, as his devotee, is also satisfied and Arjuna is also protected, decided not to kill Bhishma, and then he threw the wheel of the chariot and it went flying all the way, and it is said that it landed in Ekachakra. And that's how Eka Chakra, that's how the name Ekachakra came. Because only one chakra fell there. Everybody was wondering where is the other chakra. So Ekachakra Dham. So Lord Nityananda appeared there. He appeared in the house of Padmavati and Hadai Ojha. The Gaur Ganudesh Deepika says that Hadai Ojha is the same, Padmavati is the combination of Mother Rohini and Sumitra, and Hadai Ojha is Dashrath. And he appeared in their house. And I think in one of the lectures I heard that when he had appeared there, his bodily complexion was mixture of white butter and gold and white butter mixed. That was the bodily tinge of Lord Nityananda. His friends with love and devotion would call him Nitai. And when Lord Nityananda appeared there, his beauty was he was so beautiful that it appeared that the entire Ekachakra village would always be in the house of Hadai Pandit all the time. And their only job description was find some excuse how to go and see Lord Nityananda. Just like in the bhajan, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandan Vraja Jana Ranjana. Lord Krishna gives happiness to the people of Vraja. So similarly, Lord Nityananda was the source of all bliss and happiness of the people of Ekachakra. In one place it is mentioned that Lord Chaitanya appeared as Bankim Rai in Ekachakra just to witness the sweetness of the pastimes of Lord Nityananda. So therefore, Lord Nityananda's worshipable deity is Bankim Rai. And it is documented that ultimately he merged into the same deity. So Bankim Rai was Lord Chaitanya, and he was visualizing and seeing all his pastimes as Lord Nityananda was doing. One mention about Bankim Rai is that he was asked once to help in ploughing the fields, which were 10 miles long 10 miles wide fields, and the weeds had to be taken out. No, Bankim Rai was a person. Bankim Rai was a person. Lord Nityananda regarded him as his elder brother, played with him, and Bankim Rai was residing in Ekachakra to see the pastimes of Lord Nityananda. That is the documentation. So once Bankim Rai was asked to assist in the ploughing of the fields, and there were many weeds, 10 miles wide fields were there, and then Bankim Rai requested all the laborers, assistants, farmers to take rest and have some lunch, and then come back within an hour. And then a miracle happened that within an hour the weeds of 10-mile area were removed and everything was nicely watered and ploughed. But then after that Bankim Rai vanished. Nobody could see him. It is documented that Bankim Rai vanished from Ekachakra because the time for Lord Nityananda to leave Ekachakra had come. So this is some of the mentionings. When Lord Nityananda appeared, day and night he had only one activity to do, that means he simply wanted to play. But his plays were not like the ordinary plays, playing with trump card and all those things. He used to enact the childhood pastime. He used to enact the pastimes of Lord Krishna. And he was a natural leader of all the children. He was the most creative, the most artistic, the most intelligent, the most poetic, and all the other qualities which you can think of. And the parents of Ekachakra Dham would be so happy that their children are getting the association of Nityananda. And what the parents would say, that go and play with Lord Nityananda. This is quite unlike the parents, what they do with their children. Once I went to play out in the morning and I came back in the late evening. My father told me, why you are coming back? Why don't you stay outside? But the parents of Lord Nityananda, the parents of Ekachakra Dham were not like this. They would say that, why you have come back? Go and play with Lord Nityananda. Give him some happiness. Go and play with Nitai. So that was the mood of Ekachakra Dham. And Lord Nityananda would perfectly and very scripturally enact the pastimes of Lord Krishna. He would enact the pastime where all the demigods are approaching the milk ocean, requesting Lord Krishna to appear and save the planet Earth. So under the guidance of Lord Nityananda, one boy would become the cow, one boy would become the various demigods, and they all would go to the river. Ganges doesn't flow, so it is said that Yamuna eternally resides in Radhadesh. So they would go to that Yamuna and then they would pray, and then a child hiding behind one of the rocks would say, very soon I will appear in the holy land of Mathura and I will save the planet Earth, and everybody would clap. Sometimes Lord Nityananda would enact the pastime of Vaman Dev. So he would become Vaman Dev and somebody would become Bali and he would cheat them. Vaman Dev would transcendentally cheat Bali Maharaj. Sometimes he would enact the pastimes of Narsimha Dev, Varaha Dev. Special mention is of the pastimes of Ramayana, where he once himself took the role of Lakshmana. And then the Ram Yuddha was going on, and that was being enacted, and how Lakshmana killed Indrajit and then Ravan attacked him. Lakshmana was fighting with Indrajit and Indrajit attacked him with a weapon, because of which he fainted. And when Lord Nityananda actually fainted while doing that drama, he just kept lying down for hours together on the Dham, Ekachakra Dham. Hadai Pandit and Padmavati could not understand what's going on. The children couldn't understand what's going on. They all rushed and felt the nerves and the pulses. There was no sign of life in the body of Lord Nityananda. Then all of a sudden one boy remembered that before this drama, Lord Nityananda had asked me to become Hanuman and get the Jadi Booty. So he immediately rushes to one of the hillocks and plucks some leaves which act like the Sanjeevani Booty. But on the way, Lord Nityananda had instructed two other boys to become the crocodile and the demon to attack Hanuman to stop him from coming fast. So that also happens, and And as soon as the Jadi Booty is brought near the nose of Lord Nityananda, he immediately wakes up asking, "Where is Indrajit? Where is Indrajit?" So, so much was his absorption in the pastimes of Lord Krishna that it is unimaginable. He would also perform the pastimes of Kalya Mardan, killing of Aghasur, Bakasur, and so many other demons. And people would ask him that, how you are such a 5-year-old boy and whole day you keep playing, you have never visited any Gurukul, nor have you studied under anybody. How do you know these pastimes in full detail? So Lord Nityananda would smile and say that these are my own pastimes. And I am mercifully allowing you to see them. And all the villagers would say, "Yes, yes, thank you very much," and offer gratitude to Lord Nityananda. So in this way, Lord Nityananda was completely immersed in the pastimes of Lord Krishna. The day when Lord Chaitanya appeared, he was around 10 years old, and he started roaring like anything. And those roaring of Hari, Hari was penetrating the universe, and the whole universe became ecstatic. But nobody could understand the reason why he was roaring. So these are the facts which are mentioned. In Ekachakra Dham, there is a place called Birbhum, where the place where Lord Nityananda had appeared is very nicely being, the deities of Krishna, Balram, Gaur-Nitai, etc. being worshipped there. And Bankim Rai is also there. In Birbhum, there is also near Birbhum, there is a place called Malatala. The speciality of this Malatala is that there is a very ancient banyan tree here, which is from the time of Lord Nityananda. The speciality of this banyan tree is that it has witnessed one pastime. And the fact that it has witnessed that pastime and still survived was appreciated by Lord Chaitanya and others. So much so that whoever visited that place offered garlands to this tree. That pastime is the pastime of Lord Nityananda leaving Ekachakra Dham. So it so happened that once unknown sannyasi visited the Ekachakra, and Hadai Pandit and Padmavati, they invited him to stay at their place. And it was a culture in the Grihasthas that they would feel a natural obligation to give everything to the devotees of the Lord, especially in the renounced order. So next morning, when this unknown sannyasi was leaving, he asked for a favor, and immediately Hadai Pandit took a vow that whatever you ask, I will give you. And this unknown sannyasi ended up asking Lord Nityananda. He said that I have to travel in so many holy places, I need an assistant. And words cannot describe what went through the heart of Lord Nityananda, Hadai Pandit and Padmavati. This news started spreading that Hadai Pandit has been asked to give away his son. It started spreading in the whole Ekachakra Dham, and people were going crazy. It is said that a strange eeriness and a strange sadness engulfed the whole of Ekachakra Dham. So much so that even the stones and the wood were melting. Everything was losing their consciousness. Everything had become stunned. And there was only one banyan tree which was able to withstand all this, which is still there till now. That is the Ashwatha tree which we are talking about, and that place is called Malatala. So when Lord Chaitanya also visited it, he also embraced this tree, shed tears, and offered garlands to this tree. So that sannyasi had asked for Nityanand Prabhu, and Hadai Pandit, being chaste to his vow, the situation, the acharyas say, was the same when when King Dashrath had been asked by Vishwamitra to give Ram and Lakshmana. So although Padmavati was all the time unconscious and fainted, and although all the people of Ekachakra were simply crying and telling that what was the need of Hadai Pandit to give such a vow in such a state, this can be compared to Krishna leaving Vrindavan and the gopis crying. Similar stage was this, where all the people of Ekchakra were crying for Lord Nityananda. And Nityananda went with that sannyasi in such a way that he didn't even look behind, and once he left, he never came back. And this happened when he was 12 years old. So, even after he left Ekachakra Dham, there is description that people were just like living corpses there. They wouldn't maintain their houses, so much so that grass would start growing in their kitchen, which was a center of all activities when Lord Nityananda was there. Everybody would make so many items every day in their house and bring to feed Lord Nityananda. But now their kitchen was so much unused that grass was growing in their kitchen. They would simply drink buttermilk once or twice in a day, once or twice in 2 days, and rather just not maintain their body. And all the time everybody would be simply crying that what was the need of Hadai Pandit to give away Lord Nityananda to that unknown sannyasi. And in this way, all the residents of Ekchakra Dham, they quit their body in the loving memory of Lord Nityananda. And that is the glory of this Ekachakra Dham. I have a very strong desire to visit this Ekachakra Dham someday, and I am praying to Lord Nityananda to allow me, if possible in this body only, to visit that Dham. Next month? Oh yeah, Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. Lord Nityananda is very merciful. So, in this way he would enact many pastimes and engulf the hearts of the people of Ekachakra Dham into pools of ecstasy. And after he left with that sannyasi, he wandered for many years, and he went through all the pilgrim places. And ultimately he was waiting for the signal from Lord Chaitanya to meet him in Navadvip. Lord Chaitanya in the meanwhile was relishing the rasa of being a scholar, and he was just having very nice arguments with everybody. And when he went to Gaya to do the Pindadan of his departed father, Jagannath Mishra, who was non-different from Nand Maharaj, at that time, by his own sweet will, he met his own spiritual master, Shripad Ishwar Puri. And there he received initiation from him, and that's when everything changed. And that's when he started manifesting devotional ecstasies. And Lord Nityananda understood that now the time has come to meet Lord Chaitanya. And at that time Lord Nityananda was in Vrindavan. And my spiritual master narrates a very famous pastime of Lord Nityananda, where he goes and meets Sridham in one of the caves of Vrindavan. When all the gopis were crying, putting their head under the chariot wheels and catching the ropes of the horses and holding the horses, lying down in front of the chariot of Akrura, at that time Sridham, the best friend of Krishna, thought that I should do something to stop Krishna. And he remembered that Krishna would stop his play, stop his cow tending, stop everything, ignore the cries of Mother Yashoda, whenever Sridham would make a very nice porridge, kheer, and bring for him to eat. So much so that when Madhumangal would eat it, he would punch in the stomach of Madhumangal and his mouth would open and the kheer would come out and Krishna would take it in his mouth. That much he loved this kheer of Sridham. So Sridham immediately went and made that kheer and brought it. And he showed it on the chariot, that please don't leave, eat this kheer and go. So Lord Krishna cheated him by saying that you wait for some time, I'll come and eat this kheer. And then the chariot went a little bit further, he again turned back and he said, I may take some time, so you may eat this kheer, may not wait also. But Sridham was such a nice friend that he continued waiting, so much so that he was still now waiting in a cave of Vrindavan for Krishna to return. Generally the people who do the Govardhan Parikrama, they call him as Puchdi Ka Lota Babaji. So the deity of Puchdi Ka Lota Babaji is the deity of Sridham. And anybody who is doing Govardhan Parikrama is supposed to take blessing and give their attendance there. Otherwise the Govardhan Parikrama, doesn't become as auspicious as possible. So Lord Nityananda knew the time to go to Navadvip has come, and he wanted to pick up Sridham also before going. So he went and he shouted, Sridham, Sridham, and Sridham came out. And then he saw this tiny person in front of me. He's shouting my name. He said, who are you? He said, I am Balram. He said, how can you be Balram? You are so tiny. So point to be noted that there is a difference in the physical dimensions of people of various yugas. Krishna as a small child only was 7 feet tall. And here was Lord Nityananda, who is 7 feet tall, and here is Sridham, who is an adult from a previous yuga. So he said, I don't believe you that you are Lord Balram. If you are Balram, then you have to prove yourself. So Balram said, okay, what do you want? He said, Sridham said, only Balram could defeat me in a race around the Govardhan. So if you can defeat me, then I'll accept that you are Balram. And Balram said, yes, Lord Nityananda said, I'm in for it. And then they started running. Of course, people could see only an Avadhut renunciant running like a mad person around the Govardhan. They could not see the subtle form and the mystical form of Sridham. But yes, this was happening, a race was happening, and they were running. And Lord Nityananda defeated Sridham, and Sridham accepted that, yes, you are Balram. And then the next question which Sridham asked is that, I'm simply waiting for Lord Krishna. Where is he right now? Would all of you like to know where is Lord Krishna? So Lord Nityananda said that Krishna is in Navadvip doing Sankirtan Leela. Would you like to participate in the Sankirtan Leela of Lord Chaitanya? So immediately Balram, what he did, he placed his hand on the head of Sridham and made him reduced in size, this Kali Yuga size. And with him he entered Navadvip, and that entry, and he became as Abhiram Thakur in Chaitanya Leela. And then rest is history, how he came and he hid in the house of Nandanacharya, and how Lord Chaitanya met him, embraced him, and welcomed him in his life. Sorry? Yeah, I'm not going to cover that. I'm not going to. Yeah, tomorrow we will hear how Lord Nityananda meets Lord Chaitanya. So these are some of the. So there is no limit to these pastimes, of course. It's my ignorance that I cannot recite it properly, and I don't know much. But this is what I could understand. Some of the pastimes mentioned. There is also a place called Bakul Tala in Ekachakradham, a Bakul tree. And this was the same Bakul tree under which Lord Nityananda every day used to rest after playing. And it is said that this entire Bakul tree is filled with the dust of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. And it is described that when Lord Nityananda would reside under this tree, the tree would protect Lord Nityananda just like Anant Shesh from all the heat, cold, wind, rain and other things. And next to this Bakul tree is a palm tree which appears to be embracing this Bakul tree. Now Bakul tree and palm tree are two different colors. So if somebody looks at this Bakul tree and palm tree from a distance, it appears like Krishna and Balram are ecstatically embracing each other. So this is one more aspect which just came to my mind. The Panihati pastime which Lord Nityananda did was not something new. He would do it on a regular basis in Ekachakradham. So he would come with his friends with pots of yogurt and rice and all the things, camphor and bananas and everything. And there is one lake which has water till its knees. There only they will stand and they will eat. So Lord Nityananda had good practice and he enacted the same with Raghunath Das Goswami. So like this, there are many pastimes. Senior devotees will be able to recite more pastimes. But in essence, I would like to just conclude that the mood of Lord Nityananda is to eternally serve Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya. Whatever mood Lord Krishna descends with, Lord Nityananda assumes the same mood and takes it a step forward in his service to Krishna. Whether it is as Lakshman in the form of Ram, or whether it is as Sri Balram in the form of Lord Krishna, or whether it is Lord Nityananda in the form of Lord Chaitanya. Prabhupada has given very nice commentaries about Lord Nityananda in the purports. and we are very, very grateful that he has revealed it to us. And the mercy of Lord, there is unlimited prospect and inconceivable hope in the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Anybody can approach him, and he is ready to give shelter to anybody. Even God can reject someone, but even a person rejected by God, if he humbly prays to Lord Nityananda and engages in the service of Lord Nityananda, follows in the footsteps of Lord Nityananda by going door to door and requesting everybody to chant Hare Krishna and read the scriptures such as Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. Any person, even a God-forsaken person, Lord Nityananda can ensure that he will receive the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And this has been proven again and again in so many pastimes, like the pastime of Kal Krishna Das. There is this pastime of Chota Haridas, who did a subtle mistake and he was removed from the association of the Lordship, Lord Chaitanya. But then there is this Kal Krishna Das who went on the South Indian tour with Lord Chaitanya and had a gross fall down, went into the Bhatta Hari camp. But because he was a servant of Lord Nityananda, and because Lord Nityananda later engaged him in the service of Mother Shachi, and because later on he was interviewed by Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai, so therefore we have so much detail about the South Indian Yatra. So it is better to be a servant of Lord Nityananda. He will 100% ensure that one will get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is a property of Lord Nityananda, and anybody who directly tries to approach Lord Chaitanya gets punished like Raghunath Das in the Panihati pastime. So it's very blissful always to be under the shelter of Lord Nityananda. Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Shushitala. The shade of his lotus feet is considered to be as soothing. We all, at least I have a forest fire of material existing burning in my heart. Now all I need is the cooling sunshine of a moon. But the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda are millions of Koti Chandra Sushitala. Immediately all the lamentation, hankering, everything can be mitigated in just one moment. Anybody who gets the mercy of Lord Nityananda. So let's continue to meditate on the pastimes of Lord Nityananda, the Jagai Madhai pastime and the various other pastimes which are documented in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat. Let's try to pray to him. It's not very difficult to get the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Only what one needs to do is to pray in a humble mood. Let's not be puffed up while praying to Lord Nityananda. Let's be humble and pray to him. And then rest everything he will take care. He will ensure that we will achieve the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya very soon. So with that, I would like to conclude today's discussion. We will hear more in the coming sessions throughout this week.
The Guru Parampara, this one, Nityananda was given as a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. And I heard pastimes also related to that.
Yes.
But Lakshmipati Tirtha, even I have this question.
So, what I have heard is that in Chaitanya Bhagavat it is mentioned that he has taken initiation from Lakshmipati Tirtha, and when he meets Madhavendra Puri, and they both embrace each other and roll in the dust, discussing various pastimes of Krishna. And at one point of time, both are holding each other's lotus feet and things like that. So from that and from what I saw in Pandharpur, my understanding was that Lakshmipati Tirtha is the... but he definitely regarded Madhavendra Puri also as a very, very exalted personality. This is from Chaitanya Bhagavat. The dealings of Lord Nityananda with Madhavendra Puri in Chaitanya Bhagavat may give us an understanding that they are not the dealings of a disciple and a spiritual master. So in light of that, I am just understanding that Lakshmipati Tirtha is the spiritual master of Nityananda Prabhu. Okay, so we would like to conclude today's discussions. Would anybody would like to add something to what they heard? Any reflections, any suggestions, comments? Yes, Prabhu.
You told Nityananda Prabhu merged into the deity and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also merged into another deity, where the deity has a scar in the thigh. Like, so how to understand, Prabhuji, if someone like Brahmavad or someone comments that among 5 types of liberation, the Vaishnavas will not desire for Sahajya, entering into the body of the Lord. So because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu incarnated as a devotee of the Lord, so they should not be supposed to, actually because they are playing the role of devotees, they are showing the mood of devotees.
Sorry.
They should not supposed to merge.
Actually, the merging into deities is condemned by Vaishnavas. So how to understand ourselves and how to explain to them, whoever is desiring for such entering into the body of the Lord, liberation.
I see. Merging into the deity is considered very glorious. Anybody who, for example, we have a very nice devotee in Melkote. What was her name? Nachiyar Begum, Nachiyar Bibi. She also merged into the deity of Lord Krishna there. Mirabai also merged into the deity. I don't agree that it is condemned by the Vaishnava. First of all, nobody can perform such a feat. Merging into the, please kindly try to understand, merging into the Brahma Jyoti is something which Mayavadis can achieve. But the deity is non-different from Krishna. Factually, we can say that he has gone with Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, but if one is residing in the body of the Krishna, how can he serve? Because outside of body...
See, these are very inconceivable things. We certainly cannot understand all the things clearly, but just for this purpose of this discussion, I would like to tell you that Shishupal and Dantavakra, when they were killed, they also merged into the body of Krishna, but they are Jay and Vijay. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that inside the body of Lord Krishna, all the Vishnus reside. So until the time all the Vishnus were residing in the body of Lord Krishna, Shishupal and Dantavakra were in the body of Krishna, and as when Krishna was descending to Goloka and all the other Vishnus were simultaneously going to their abodes, at that time Jay and Vijay also came out and went in the service of Lord Vishnu. This is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments. So these are very inconceivable things. Similar question was asked to Prabhupada, that Prabhupada, na janam, na dhanam, na sundarim, that verse is telling I don't want anything, I only want causeless devotional service. But in the next verse it is said that I want to become a dust at your lotus feet, pick me up. In one verse they are saying they don't want liberation, in the next verse they are saying that please pick me up. How to understand this? So Prabhupada said there is no difference between liberation and becoming the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. So if somebody is merging into the lotus feet of Krishna or the deity of Krishna, what's the problem? We have to see it from that angle. There is no difference between serving Krishna and becoming the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. Again, someone may claim, okay, this is a desire which has liberation at its center. It has got nothing to do with the pleasure of Krishna. Bhakti is not, but the desire of escaping the suffering of the material world is there. But then Prabhupada just slammed that question in the lecture. He said that there is no difference between serving Krishna and becoming a dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. So we can extrapolate from that there is no difference in returning back home, back to Godhead, or of course Lord Nityananda he's going to his abode. And they can choose. They are the supremely independent Lord. They need not follow the rules and regulations of the human society or the other things. If a helicopter is flying in the sky and if a red light burns on the road, will the helicopter stop? No, because the helicopter has got nothing to do with these traffic rules. So the point which I am trying to make here is that they are supremely independent Lord, they can do whatever they want. This is what I am trying to highlight. That they can, in the previous, when he was Balram, he assumed the form of a 1,000-hooded snake and he left for the spiritual abode. In this, he chose to merge into a deity. So he can do whatever he wants. Challenge is to others to do that and show. If they cannot, then they should understand that they are not God.
Vaishnava can desire for such Sahajya liberation.
No, here I just want to add one point. The pastimes of the Lord, some pastimes of the Lord were enacted for devotees to follow, and some pastimes like Antya Leela and others, those were just to relish or just to hear. So even this merging of the Lord in the deity, So even that comes in that category. As he very nicely mentioned that independent, Lord is supremely independent. So that part, is taken into account. So your question is like they're setting an example. Some pastimes are there where they're setting an example. But other pastimes are Supreme Personality of Godhead and they're relishing their own pastimes.
Other pastimes are just to cheat the Mayavadis.
Yeah. Actually, if you read the Mahabharata, Arjuna burnt the body of Krishna and Balram. But the Bhagavatam says that Krishna was sitting in the 400 form talking to Maitreya and Uddhava, and then he just left, and some demigods could understand, some could not understand. So, in simple words, sabka dukan chalna chahiye. A theist also should not feel that my existence only has been wiped out by the pastimes of the Lord. So, sabka dukan chalna chahiye, sabka rozi roti chalna chahiye. So, Lord Krishna left an illusory body in the place where everybody was being killed. And Arjuna, when he was doing the funeral, and he did funeral for Krishna and Balram also. Where do you think otherwise the queens took Sati there? Entered fire. They entered the fire of Lord Krishna and Balram. But the Bhagavatam says that they assumed a spiritual form, and in their own spiritual form, in the very self-same body, they went back. Also, for your understanding, this disappearance of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, there are various accounts for it. The different biographies, they say different things. So my spiritual master says, okay, one biography says he went to have bath, never came back. One biography says he entered the temple, he never came back. One biography says, my spiritual master says that, why not? He did all the 7 pastimes at the same time for his different devotees and as a reciprocation for them. Why can't the Supreme Lord do this? So similarly for Lord Nityananda also, there is various accounts. Some say he merged in the deity, some say he... So I don't know all of them. But certainly for Lord Chaitanya there are multiple accounts, there can be for Lord Nityananda also. The point which we are trying to make is, they can do whatever they want. Some pastimes of the Lord are Anushtan Pradhan. And some pastimes of the Lord are Anubhav Pradhan. Anushtan Pradhan pastimes you can try to follow. Like Lord Nityananda going and falling at the feet of everybody and asking them to chant Hare Krishna. Please, we can follow. But other pastimes, some pastimes, we cannot follow.
Drinking pastimes.
Yes.
Roji, one more question.
Tomorrow we'll cover all that now.
Roji, you said that Balaram and Krishna, there is no difference. Balaram is like a servitor supreme personality of Godhead. Like he is a servant of Krishna, Prabhuji. So one time I think from Maharaj I was hearing that Balaram entered with his gopis into the Yamuna, and when Krishna's gopis are separated, and because of separation from Krishna, assuming the Balaram as Krishna, they also entered into the river like that. I heard Prabhuji. So Balaram also has his gopis, like he is a servant of Krishna, and I'm quite confused. This
Maybe you can stop hearing these lectures.
long back, 3 years or something like that.
Don't hear this.
Please understand, Balram cannot take the place of Krishna. Balram had his own gopis and Krishna had his own gopis. And Balram is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This much you understand. There is no mixing happening here and there.
Burning of Krishna and Balaram, they are transcendental bodies. When they jumped from the hill, they didn't get anything. How can they got burnt after the...
They did that by their own sweet will. That's what I'm trying to explain it to you. The moment you understand that the Supreme Lord can do anything by His own supreme will and is not the subject and the condition to our limited understanding, then we will be able to relish these pastimes. When Krishna jumped from an 80-mile high mountain, nothing happened to him. But in some war, something happened to him. How to understand? Nobody can understand this. He is undefeatable. But in some, what was the name of that warrior who was fighting and he made Lord Krishna's bow fall down from his hand?
Shalva.
Shalva. How do you understand this? The Shalva made the bow of Lord Krishna fall down from his hand. How do you understand? This is the supreme sweet will of the Lord. Without His will, nothing can happen.
And he killed Vasudeva.
Yes.
And Krishna started crying.
So Jiva Goswami comments that until and unless one's worshipable deity or one's Aradhya, or the sadhaka understands that my Aradhya is inconceivable, he cannot actually serve his Aradhya with humility. If the Aradhya tries to understand everything about the Aradhya, if the sadhaka tries to understand everything about the Aradhya with a desire that I will understand everything, then he will end up committing offenses. So we have to understand that Krishna is supreme and he can do anything and everything. He can appear from the heart of Vasudeva into the womb of Devaki and directly appear, or else he can enter the semen of Kardam Muni and take birth like a normal child also. Now again, the question should not come, how can he take birth like a normal child? He can do whatever he wants. And unless we appreciate this point, we will not be able to sincerely understand or chant Hare Krishna also properly.
Actually, outside we will ask Krishna is as a normal human being. Then we say this quote that he appeared from the heart, and as soon as he appeared, he got 4 hands like Krishna. To make them understand that Krishna is not like us and God.
Then they will say Karna also appeared with a Kavach and Kundal. So he is also in the category. No. We have to make them understand sincerely in the way Prabhupada used to make them understand.
Here we can mention Ram also. Ram entered the real
Saryu.
We cannot say that if we enter river, we will commit suicide. We cannot say that Ram commits suicide. This kind of arguments, any idiot can do that, but that is not the thing.
Okay.
And one more point is, now if people ask like that, logically, the whole this one is, can we settle this argument by logic? And by logic we cannot understand. Should ask them to render some devotional service.
Then they will understand.
Then they'll understand.
Therefore, everybody should carry some sweets which is made in the kitchen. I see. Always, if somebody asks something, throw it in their mouth.
Nobody asks them.
If nobody asks, then sweets have to finish anyways. So we can only eat. Okay. Thank you very much. Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nityananda Treyodashi ki jai. Hare Krishna.